Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Gothenburg, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and we're going to return to a brewery who I've not had anything from in quite some time actually. So we're going to go back to Mohawk Brewing Company, who are one of the Swedish Gypsy breweries, or virtual brewery as they call themselves, and we're having a taste of their Double Down tonight. Now this one is an 8.5% double IPA. It's brewed with American and New Zealand hops, so it should be quite nice. It was rated 86 overall on Rate Beer when I checked out earlier, and this I believe is my 5th review from Mohawk Brewing, but it is the first one of an IPA, so I'm really interested to see how these guys make this style. And Gothenburg, of course, is a really big beer city these days in Sweden. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of there, so definitely looking forward to doing another Mohawk beer for you guys, and I hope you enjoy the review. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Mohawk reviews I've done for you before. There no doubt will be more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so if you go into the homepage you can search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of the beers from different countries as well, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support of the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Mohawk Brewing then. So these guys, as I mentioned to you, are a virtual brewery as they say, and basically it's the same idea as a Gypsy brewery as over in Denmark. They use the extra capacity at various other breweries to brew their beers. They don't have a physical brewery of their own. But Mohawk Brewing was actually founded in 2010 by Stefan Gustafsson, who'd actually been working commercially in brewing for a number of years, and he'd previously been a home brewer for a long time before that. He apparently started home brewing because he was a poor student and wanted to make cheap alcohol, but also because the range of beers in Sweden was very poor at this time. So he was later actually inspired to kind of go professional and form Mohawk Brewing after he saw the success of the Danish Gypsy brewers, namely Mikkeller of course, and Toil from Copenhagen, and now these beers are a regular member of the Systembolaget range here in Sweden, and they're actually distributed by Wicked Wines as well, who I believe export quite a few of the Swedish beers as well, so you might actually start to see these beers outside of Sweden fairly soon. But they've got some really good things. It's in the winter season when I'm actually filming this review, they have their Whiteout Imperial Stout coming out, and that's one of their very highly rated beers. The dark beers I've had from these guys are very good, but they do a whole host of different styles. Belgians, they've got a lot of different stouts, but as I say, this is the first IPA that I'm trying from these guys, so hopefully I can try some more of their beers in the near future. They are quite easily available on Systembolaget for you to order, but as I said, the brewery website's in the description below and you can have a look and see all the different things that they do. So yeah, that's enough about the brewery just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So as I said to you, this one is an 8.5% double IPA, and it tells you on the side here, it says you've got hops here from the US and New Zealand, and it's got an intensive and complex character, this one, so it should be really nice actually. It's talking about what different aromas and things it has, but we'll examine that in a little minute. Let me just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. Quite simple actually. I do like this kind of simple but modern style of artwork that you have on the Mohawk beers. They do all tend to be fairly similar, they just have a different colour depending on what beer it is of course, and there you are, you can see on the top, there it is, the Mohawk Brewing Company bottle cap, and that is fairly standard. Some of the ones I did have just had a plain cap on them, but I believe this is now the standard Mohawk bottle cap, and it says here best before the 16th of August 2017, so it's well in date, and we'll get this guy open then and get on with the tasting. Really looking forward to trying this one actually. So yeah, as you can see, nice smoky opening on this one as we get it out, so we'll stick it in the glass. And I tell you something, you can smell some of that New Zealand hop character coming off this one. The New Zealand hops always have this really juicy, almost kind of just tropical fruit aroma about them. You know, they always have this kind of slightly like lychee and gooseberry and mango sort of thing going on. They always smell of these kind of lighter tropical fruits that probably in American hop terms you would associate with the Citra, but the New Zealand hops always have this really juicy character, and you can certainly smell that when you pour this beer. But as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice orangey amber colour. I'm not sure how well you're seeing that colour in the light. If I just bring it over here, you can perhaps see the colour of that a little bit better. But a really nice kind of bright, almost blood orange character on this one. It actually smells and looks very, very sorry about that guys, a little technical issue with the camera there when I was filming this one, but as I was saying, let's have a closer look at the aroma on this one then. So yeah, as I was talking about, these New Zealand hops, you can really smell the tropical aromas from these ones. It does smell absolutely lovely, You've got a little bit kind of mango, lychee sort of thing going on in this beer. You can really pick that up. There's maybe a little bit of kind of grapefruit just underpinning this one, but that really is taking a back seat in this one. The nose on this is a big fruit bowl, mangoes, peaches, sort of apricots, lychees. Maybe there's a little bit of orange in there. You can pick up just a little bit of an orange sweet character. But underneath, you can really smell some of these nice kind of caramel malts. It does have quite a rich malt base, this beer. You can smell some of the biscuity notes as well. It smells lovely. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one. There's some bread in there, a little bit of caramel like I was saying. The caramel maybe is a bit stronger, but it's got a nice kind of grainy, biscuity character coming out of the beer. It is absolutely lovely. So just take a bit of time. It's a big kind of fruit bowl, New Zealand kind of hot bomb thing, this one. It really has that tropical kind of juicy fruit aroma that you expect of New Zealand hops. You can get a little bit of the American hops coming out, but really the nose is more like the kind of standard New Zealand IPA. So yeah, let's get stuck into this one then. So this one is the Double Down Double IPA, 8.5% from Mohawk Brewing, Gypsy Brewery up in Gothenburg here in Sweden. Skål! Oh yeah, that's quite an interesting one. When it first comes into your mouth, it comes across as more like an American IPA. It's got those big kind of floral and slightly resinous hops, but then it just mellows out, and that's when you start to get more of the kind of New Zealand character coming out of this beer. Yeah, and that's really nice. It's a change of pace from some of the other Mohawk beers and things that I've had. Of course, as I said, this is my first IPA from these guys. But this is definitely interesting. So the middle of your palate is kind of as you would expect. There's a little bit of bready character there. You can feel a bit of pale malt, some thicker, smooth bready characters on top of that. You can feel some biscuit sweetness, but in the middle of your palate, you've got a good bit of a kind of dark, slightly toasted caramel accent in this one. The caramel for me feels a little bit dark in this one, but you can really feel some of the, particularly as you move into the aftertaste, you can really feel a little bit of the resinous character of the hops coming out and some dark floral aromaticity in this beer. But it's really nice, this. In terms of the IPAs you're going to find, this one isn't really going to blow your head in terms of bitterness. This one's more about how the flavours kind of blend together actually. It's got a good bit of that hoppy resinous just underneath it, and just kind of underpinning it, but it's not really aggressive in the way that comes across. There's a lot of IPAs that just go for that big, hop, aggressive flavour. This one, as I say, is more about how the things blend together. So yeah, you can feel a little bit of those resins there, but it does smooth out and just becomes a little bit more juicy and wet. You can feel a little bit of the floral aromaticity there, and as you go around the front curve of the palate, there's more of the sort of lighter grassy notes coming out of this beer, but it's the fruity side of things that's really interesting in this one. And that of course is down to the fact that you've got the New Zealand and the American hops in here. This one, it really has a bit of grapefruit just underpinning it. I'm talking about this little oily bubble that you'll get behind the front curve of your tongue. There's a little bit of grapefruit just underpinning this one. There's some, you can feel that, and it starts to come out more and more as you move into the aftertaste. You've got that dark grapefruit character there. But as you go through this beer, you can pick up a little bit of orange. It kind of mixes with the caramel a wee bit, I think. It's quite a strong orange, maybe a sort of blood orange or a sharper tangerine or something like that. But definitely a sort of orangey citric character to this beer too. But yeah, in the start of the flavour, you can get a little bit, there's a little bit of a kind of mango-y and passion fruit thing going on. You can for a little bit detect, some kind of lychees or some gooseberries or something like that in there, these typical lighter elements, these kind of juicy tropical fruits that you expect in the New Zealand hops. You can get that in there, but soon, for me, it's the grapefruit that I think probably is coming from the American hops. You can really feel that start to dominate the palate along with a bit of the resin and some of the floral character in this beer too. But yeah, it's quite nice. The caramel on this one is quite interesting too, because with this beer, the way the hops come out, I would have thought, you know, a nice bit of sweeter caramel on this would go really nicely with the types of flavours you're getting in this one. But the caramel actually comes across as a little bit toasted, and then you can feel the sort of resinous parts of this beer and the grapefruit as well just creeping into the middle of the palate. So it's quite interesting and quirky in that regard. But as I say, the malt base is fairly simple. A little bit of pale malt, some thicker berry character, some biscuit too, and that caramel, of course, is quite is a bit darker and toasted as well. So it's a really interesting blend of flavours, this one. I think the American hops, the nose definitely comes across as being very sort of New Zealand hoppy, but then the taste, you get a bit of the New Zealand character, but then the American hops kind of start to dominate this one. So it's an interesting combination they've gone for in this, and I would say maybe a little bit more caramelly flavour would do this one quite well, but overall it is a nice beer. So yeah, I would definitely stick with that, what I was saying about the fruit. You do get a little bit of the kind of gooseberry or lychee flavours coming out on the front of the palate, and especially as the beer starts to warm up a little and the flavour progresses. But overall, you know, it's a very solid double IPA. If you've tried some of the Mohawk beers, you certainly wouldn't expect anything less. I would say that this one, if you're trying your first beer and you're quite well versed in craft beer, probably go for one of the Imperial Stouts from these guys. The Imperial Stouts are really where this brewery get a lot of their very high ratings. This one is isn't quite as highly rated as the other ones, but for me, I quite like it. But just be prepared with this one, as I say, it has a really kind of interesting, quite unusual hoppy character. So if that's the kind of thing you want to go for, that's how I'd recommend this beer. I think the 86 rating that this one has is probably about fair for it. The one that it has on Rate Beer, I think that suits it down to the ground really. If it just had a little bit more kind of sweetness in the malt base for me, that's what I would say would take this one up a little bit. But you know, it's a really nice beer. I would drink it again if it was on tap. So in that regard, it's quite a solid double IPA, I think it's fair to say with this one. So in terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say this guy is mid-body. The carbonation has a little bit of an attack to it, but overall it's fairly smooth. There's a good oily feel to this one. The hoppy bitterness in this one is quite good as well. You can feel that kind of floral aromaticity and a bit resinous, and the resinous character just creeping off the side of the palate there. The bitterness lingers into the aftertaste. There's a bit of sweetness from the malt base. Overall it is quite smooth, but like I say, the caramel character in this one is a little bit darker. So overall it's quite interesting. The fruits are interesting too. You get a little bit of juiciness from the New Zealand side of things, but from the American side of things, the fruity character actually comes across as being a bit darker. So in that regard, it's a really quite interesting and quirky beer, this one. So I'd recommend you give it a go and see what you think of it for yourself. So yeah, another really solid offering from Mohawk Brewing Company. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to try more of their beers actually. I'd love to try this on tap and just see if it actually gives you a little bit more of the caramel and a slightly thicker mouthfeel on tap, because I think that's what would benefit this beer a little bit. But the 86 rating that it had on Rate Beer, I think, is about fair for this one. But it's a really nice double IPA. I wouldn't hesitate to drink it again if it was on offer. So yeah, we'll see how we get on with that. Hopefully I can find it on tap sometime. The Double Imperial IPA, I guess you would say, from Mohawk Brewing up in Gothenburg. Really interesting blend between the New Zealand hops and the American hops in this one. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. As always, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys. Do let me know what other beers you'd like me to try from Mohawk as well. I think this is my 5th review from these guys, so you can go and check out the other ones too. They've got all their Christmas beers out just now that you can check out. But yeah, until the next time, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual stuff. Check out my social media and let me know what's going on in the comment section below. Until the next time, it's Slangin just now. Make sure you check out the Double Down from Mohawk Brewing Company, one of the Gypsy breweries here in Sweden. Skål!